it's two things, right? It's where's the audience and where does the person like to play?
Welcome to Mortgage Talk with Mark, hosted by Mark Hairston. This podcast is your go-to source for real estate professionals, business owners, homeowners, and anyone looking for expert insights on the Austin real estate market. Let's jump into today's episode.
Happy day, everybody, and welcome back to Mortgage Talk and More, where every week I want to bring in an expert in a different field than mortgage lending, usually, to talk about how they can help your world. And today I'm real excited to spend some time with a good friend of mine named Grace Lanni. Before I introduce Grace, I want to talk a little bit about the mortgage situation right now as far as rates go. The Federal Reserve has come out and said they're going to be lowering rates most likely in September. The market has corrected somewhat. And to give you an example, I locked in a veteran on a VA loan this week at 5.5% on a 30-year note. 3 or 4 months ago, that same loan would have been 7%. So I think the timing is pretty good. If you're looking to buy a property, let me know. We can talk about how we can help you. Now, getting back to our show today, my friend Grace Lanni is with me, and she's a delightful person. We've been friends for about 15 years. We met in a networking group years ago, and at the time, I remember thinking to myself, that is the smartest person in the room.
Oh, stop.
No, it's true. And today, it's the same way. You're the smartest person in this room.
Oh, Mark, I appreciate our friendship because, when I first sat in that room, I had come off a corporate adventure. I was just wanting to connect with the business owners in my neighborhood, if you will.
Yeah. It was at Twin Creeks at the time.
Yeah, we were meeting once a week. And do you remember we start things up? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we started up.
Yeah, we start things up.
Yeah.
And so I had just come off launching a tech company with Austin Ventures. I was one of 2 women who got funded at the multi-million-dollar level. That was an adventure. And then I went into my consulting practice. People wanted to understand how to get to that next level with their idea. They wanted to get that multi-million-dollar level. And so I had been through that fire and I knew exactly what needed to be done. And that's what I was talking about in our group.
Awesome.
So do you remember that now?
I do recall that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute or two, hasn't it?
It has. And then what? Several years later, 2016, we launched a new brand all about that brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the name too.
Yeah. Well, it was
Kind of speaks
Meghan
to it.
Trainor. Great song, right? All about that bass, right?
But you do have a musical background too.
I do have a
musical.
Yeah. Well, I think I just
Very
did.
talented.
I think I just
I
did.
think you did too.
Yeah. So we help people tell their story so their perfect client wants to do business with them.
Yeah.
So the name and the words you say and the visuals, right? How the logo looks, how the website looks. When people listen to recordings on podcasts, like what we're doing, all those things roll into the brand.
Sure.
And that's old time, right? 2016.
Yeah.
And so
8 years ago.
Fast forward how many years? And you just reached out because you went to an event in Vegas. So tell that story.
Well, we were in Vegas back in July, and they had several great speakers there, and one of them was Gary Vee. And Gary Vee, who's a very famous sort of marketing guy, says that selling is for people who don't know how to brand, meaning that with branding, people come to you as opposed to you going out and try to sell something, if you will. And your name and face hit me right in my front of my head. I think I got to get a hold of Grace again because we hadn't spoken in several years,
right.
But when it comes to branding, I know you're an expert in that field. And that's why I wanted you to speak to that today because business people, and I don't know exactly what your sweet spot is as far as working with business people, but everybody needs this brand. So I want you to share about why the value of that is.
Yeah, well, just
he didn't go into detail around it so much. He just said you have to have it.
Yeah.
That's the
well,
thing.
everybody already has it. It's whether or not it's memorable and it's any good.
Right.
Right. And are people going to, after not speaking with someone for years and years, connect my name and my face with a word or a phrase or a need, a challenge that needs to be solved. And so you're in this meeting. We haven't talked in years and years. The word brand rolls by and you immediately connect that with me.
That's right.
So what's that say? That my brand is
working.
brand.
Yeah.
Right? How great is that? That's pretty
fantastic.
good.
It's fantastic.
It's pretty good.
And so, and I want to speak to it as far as maybe my business goes, or in general, why it's so valuable to have. I mean, you just spoke to it a little bit, but go deeper around that.
Yeah. So, the All About That brand was an interesting process. So after working in the consulting world, I brought in the clients and my team served those clients. So in order to grow, I had to do one or both of these things. I had to hire more people who could do what I do, right? Bring in those new clients.
Sure.
Or have an online business where we could do not just one-on-one consulting, but start to add other things like opt-ins, like online courses, like mastermind groups, all the things that people do to grow and make friends with people, where they can invest a little bit to learn about you and see, is this someone that I think can elevate my brand, can help me reach more clients, right? Is the punchline. And the brand is the vehicle to that.
Okay.
Right. So we launched a name. I'm not even going to say it out loud. And then we launched a little ebook called All About That Brand.
Okay.
And that ebook went viral.
Wow.
So much so we killed the name and we made the name of the platform All About That Brand.
Got it. That's how it came to be.
So the customers will always tell you what works for them.
Sure.
And I had to start somewhere. I had to come up with a name and start running it against people and see what they said. And then magically, this little ebook, which talked about our process, understanding what it is that people want their brand to be. What's your talent? What are your values? What would you like people to say about you when they hear your name? That's your brand,
that's your
right?
brand.
What people talk about when you leave the room,
right?
That's your brand.
It's just such a fascinating conversation about that,
But don't you think it's so real?
It's very real. But, for me, and I'm up in age a little bit, I'll be 65. And so I'm kind of an old dog, trying to learn some new tricks here. And it seems to me, for me at least, it's very noisy out there. There's so much information and so many different channels. How do you work in all of that? Or maybe you don't, as far as producing or creating a brand for somebody, let's say for me, and all the social networks and print and digital and all that. How does that work?
Yeah. So it's challenging. I mean, we had a really juicy first conversation and you shared with me some challenges, some things that you wanted to create, some things you wanted to do. And what I initially do is evaluate. I do a brand research project based upon what I see. What I see as a branding expert, right? Certified by the guy who writes for Forbes. Yeah. His name is William Arruda, if you ever want to check him out.
Yeah. Share a little bit more about that too.
Yeah.
Who your mentor is around that.
Yeah. So William was not the very first, but one of the very first folks that came out with programs to support people creating their personal brand. So the brand called You was an article in Fast Company back in 97.
Wow.
Right? I remember I was at a dentist office, I think, and the Fast Co was there and that was on the front. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I started reading it and connecting the dots to the executive coaching work that I was doing, thinking about these executives who were wanting to transition but couldn't get any new company to pay attention to them. So the same works for consultants, right? If you're a consultant and you want to get companies to pay attention to you, the hard way And sometimes the faster way is to just knock on doors, go to events. I mean, once you get connected with someone, you're pretty much clear if that person is your person or not, right? But how do you get access to people from the internet, from social media?
LinkedIn or whatnot.
Depending on who the audience is, right? So we have one nonprofit that we work for, Donors Choose. They serve teachers. There aren't a lot of teachers on LinkedIn.
Right.
Their community is really still Facebook.
Right.
Some Instagram. I mean, it depends on the age of that teacher.
Sure.
Right? So where you want to focus is where you need to
where
play.
your people are.
And if you want to focus on, so mortgage industry is challenging because every business person probably has, I would say most of them have a mortgage or they're looking to buy a house. And so they are an ideal prospective client for you.
Sure.
Yet mortgage is more business to consumer side. So there's a lot of conversation that happens on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And all of that conversation occurs on Twitter, occurs in Pinterest. I mean, it's two things, right? It's where's the audience and where does the person like to play? What is their natural place to play? Coming from corporate, LinkedIn was the natural place for me to play. So I do a lot of work on LinkedIn. Most of my clients are businesses selling to businesses, B2B. And those folks live and operate in networking meetings and conferences like the one you went to in Vegas.
Sure.
And also on LinkedIn.
Okay. And I've always sort of personally discounted LinkedIn for my business because it is more B2C, but it's also user referral business, from real estate agents and things like that. And I want to change that, but that's a different conversation you and I are going to have outside of this call, outside of this show, because we really need to dig into this more. But so what tips, if somebody's going to start a personal brand, let's start from the 30,000 foot level a little bit. Now, when I think about a personal brand, are you talking about a business brand too? Is it the same thing?
Well, it can be confusing.
It's confusing.
Think about founders who start companies.
Okay.
They're so attached to this new thing that they started. Their personal brand and their business brand collapses and it gets squished into one. And so what I help them do is kind of separate that. Okay. Because if you're a successful, Gary Vee will tell you, if you're a successful business owner, how many businesses do you have? How many streams of income do you have?
5 or 6.
7, I think is the magic number,
okay.
Right? So if you're attached to one of those, how do you grow the brand of these other businesses?
Makes sense.
Right? So think about pulling your personal brand up and over those business brands and how do they work together?
Okay.
So there's a phrase in the corporate marketing world called a brand halo.
Okay.
And so your personal brand is here, your business brand is here, and there's a halo over both of them that get to play together and support each other.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I'm in the music, right?
Yeah.
I play keyboards and sing in a rock and roll band. I've been in this business since
what is your band?
Well, right now it's been Raw Sugar for years and years, and now Gracie and the Five is the newest one.
I love it. I love it.
We did a knockoff of a show that is Daisy Jones and the Six. So we're Gracie Jones and the Five. So it's a great way to have fun, to hang out with friends, right? I don't have to clean up the house or anything. I can just go to the club.
Right.
People get to order what they want. They get to eat what they want, and they get to listen to great music.
I love it.
I
need to check it out.
Yeah. And, like you, I'm not right out of college, right? My daughter is married. Our first grandbaby is here.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Right. So it's fun to play and understand brands of different generations and how to sometimes break those, right? So if you're someone who's 60 something and you're in a consulting business, you want people to feel that you're fresh and innovative. So you're breaking the brand of that age group.
That's right. Makes sense.
You
got to stay relevant.
50 is the new 30.
Yeah.
Right.
Or 65 is the new 45.
There you go.
There we go.
Absolutely.
That feels good.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. It
I'm
does.
excited about things, to be honest with you.
You know, how could you not be?
Right.
I mean, you have a clue about a few things. You've been through a few economic cycles.
That's right.
You've been doing mortgages for a hot minute.
40 years.
Yeah. So
because my oldest son will be 40 in October.
I know.
And I started when he was 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been quite a journey. But you know, my wife and I just got back from Steamboat Springs on vacation in Vail and Colorado and all that sort of thing. And you get to talking to people and whatnot. And Colorado's a beautiful state, but I always like to come home too. You know, it feels good to get home. And
as long as it's not 100 degrees.
Yeah,
right?
as long as it's not 105, you know. But I was thinking about how, you know, sometimes I wonder, I think about how long I've been in this industry, but how much I still enjoy it and how much I'm looking forward to the future. You know,
well, and the what you enjoy about it and the value you deliver to your clients, that's your brand, Mark.
That's your brand.
Your enthusiasm about it is part of your brand. The value that this VA client got for you being able to put him into a home for 5 points right now, giddy up.
I know. He was giddy up for sure.
Yeah,
he's excited.
I bet.
Because he had called me last year to look for a property, but the numbers just didn't work.
No, they
and he
didn't.
said, Mark, when rates get to 5.5, I'm a veteran. Let me know. And I said, then I called him 30 days ago. I said, we're going to be there pretty soon. And he bought a property.
That's awesome.
I know. It was awesome.
I love it. And, you know, the cycles happen. It's just a matter of managing through that process. You
That's
know,
right.
it's interesting, all those changes. I mean, there are also changes in the world of branding, right? You know, I look around and there are people out there who are stylists, people who are photographers, people who are life coaches. Everybody seems to know how to create a personal brand, and they probably know a lot. And I'm trained by a guy who writes for Forbes, right? My thinking about branding is very different than other people. So I had to really take a look at what was adopted by the things I was doing. So another opt-in I did, right? Getting your expertise out in front of other people. So an opt-in is when you post something, and in order for people to get it, they have to opt in. They have to give you their email.
Is that called a funnel?
Well, a funnel is may or may not be opted in, right? A funnel may be just a description of how you bring people through your sales process.
Okay.
So it's a little different.
Okay.
An opt-in physically means you're getting something from them. You're getting their
a free
text,
report
or you're getting, well, the opt-in part is that you're getting someone's telephone number so you can text them.
Yeah.
Or you're getting their email so you can email. That's the concept of the opt-in.
Okay.
Okay. So a funnel can be an opt-in.
And I do it all the time.
Right.
Online.
Right.
I opt in all the time to something.
Yeah. Because you want to learn more. You want to get to know them. Do I like this? Do I like this? And then when you're done with them, what do? You opt out.
Right.
Right. Because I don't want any emails from this AI guy. Like, please, you're overloading me. No, thank you.
Right.
So we did an opt-in 2016, 17 called the LinkedIn Challenge.
And that was before opt-in was cool. Probably.
That was before opt-ins were cool. The LinkedIn Challenge, 7 days to up-level your brand on LinkedIn. And people started copying it and doing their own versions of it. And so what's the highest form of a
somebody
compliment?
ripping your stuff off.
Somebody ripping your stuff off. So as an innovator, right? I was an innovator. I had it all to myself. Then I noticed there were 4 other people doing it. And I said, okay, I'm going to call mine the original LinkedIn Challenge.
There you go.
Because guess what? It was.
Yeah.
So we came up with a new name. We did that. And then we started to look around and say, okay, what's different? COVID happened. You know, it's on the other side of COVID.
And you had to shift during COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, you had to. I mean, people had to learn how to scan a QR code to get their food. Right. So now when I put a QR code, remember way back when I had a QR code on my business card?
Right.
Nobody knew how to use it.
Nobody knew what it is. Yeah.
Phones didn't know how to engage with that. What is it? Now, if you don't have one, you don't know what you're doing. Right. It all kind of flows together. And so we launched in 21 a new brand called Giving Out Loud. And
I love the name.
Yeah, well, think about as a baby boomer, when you give money to a nonprofit, it's a secret. I don't want anybody to know.
Mm-hmm.
They slide it under the door. They send the check. They do what they do, but nobody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas millennials and Gen Z and alphas, right, they're making decisions on what they buy so that that company is giving back to a cause, number one, and a cause they care about, number two.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just focused on your business all the time and you're not talking about your community, you're not talking about causes that matter to you, you're going to lose some people. And if
they're just not going to pay attention to you.
If the cause, well, think they've got choices, right?
Right.
If I want to buy sneakers and I want stiletto heels with my sneakers, have you seen?
I have not.
What Sarah Blakely has done?
I have
she's
not.
She's the Spanx founder. So her newest brand is sneakers with stiletto heels.
Wow.
Just launched this week.
Wow.
Brilliant branding teaser campaign. The whole thing about it was I just golf clap from here. Way to go, Sarah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And I think that we can, as consultants, we can learn a lot from Sarah on how she engages with her audience every day. She has her coffee cup and there's a phrase on the front of the coffee cup. And she talks about that phrase, like, today's a good day. And she'll say something about today being a great day. Today's not such a great day. Her hair's all fluffy and wild.
Right.
Today's not a great day. She's getting in a helicopter and she's doing a promo for her new sneakers, which, from behind looks like high heels and from the front looks like sneakers, right? Sneaks.
Never thought I'd see that.
SNEE.
I bet my wife was a pair of that.
Well, you got to try them.
Yeah. Christmas is coming right around the corner.
You got to try them. You got to try them. And why do you think she launched right now?
That's right.
Because Christmas is coming.
There you go.
Marketing and branding are friends, right? Marketing wants to own branding, but I think the development people, the sales people, they're the ones embracing who they are in the community and what they can deliver for their clients. That's their brand.
Yeah.
And who they're doing it for, whether it's for their own firm or whether they're doing it for another brand, for another company, that's the brand halo effect.
Well, we've only got a few minutes left. I want to make sure anybody in the audience who wants to reach out to you, how do you get a hold of Grace Lanni?
Yeah. Well, the easiest thing to do is allabouthatbrand.com.
All about that brand. There you go.
allabouthatbrand.com. Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to go. And you can connect with me there. Givingoutloud.live, Live. We just launched a new TV channel.
Oh, nice.
It's called businessgiving.network.
Wow.
So that'll get you access to our Giving Out Loud TV show. It'll give you access to all the things we're doing on live stream.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Is that an app, a streaming app?
It is not an app. However, you can view it right from your phone. So there's a link. I mean, if you want to put a link in the show notes here, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do. Please do. So what's the relationship, or share more about the relationship between All About That Brand and Giving Out Loud? Because I'm curious, I'm fascinated by that relationship.
Yeah. So All About That Brand is a brand focused on personal branding.
Right.
Giving
small
out,
business primarily?
I would say small businesses and consultants.
And consultants.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone who...
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurs too. I mean, we
Solopreneurs,
mostly focus on service providers and tech companies. If it's a storefront, right? A restaurant or a club.
Retail.
That's probably not for us.
No.
But we know people.
Right.
So we can connect you with the right people.
Right.
Yep. Giving Out Loud is cause branding. So the reason it's separate and not just a program underneath All About That Brand, because it's unique. And so when we launched in 2021, guess where we launched? We launched on LinkedIn. We had an opt-in. Here's how to do it on your own. We had a course. Here's how to do it with us. You can do VIP training. You can follow our newsletter. So we launched a newsletter in January of 21. We did 5 months. We got to 1,000 followers.
Wow.
So that tells you that the audience is interested in cause branding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple minutes here. Wrap us up about the value of personal branding, why people need it, a little more how they incorporate cause branding real quick.
Yeah.
Can you give us the last wrap us up?
Yeah, great question. So part of your personal brand can absolutely be a cause that matters to you. So for instance, I have a client who is a finance consultant, and his kid is a musician, and he supports him.
1 minute.
It supports him making sure that musicians have the right insurance.
Okay.
And so he is talking about finance, which, I'm sorry, isn't always very exciting.
Right.
Right. So he's
Not real
talking
sexy.
about what matters to him there. He's talking about how he's taking care of his clients, the value that he's offering, and he's talking about the causes in the community that matters to him. So his personal brand is very rich. And people, especially younger people with new businesses, want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Which is what he is really looking to break into.
I love it. Well, we are wrapping up the show. We could keep going for another hour or two, probably, or more, but
I told you we could have some conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. My 20 questions went down to a few, but you took care of all that. But I appreciate your time, Grace. It's always a pleasure to see you and to listen to you, and it gets my wheels spinning.
Yeah, good.
And I love it. It. Thanks again.
You bet.
Thank you for listening to Mortgage Talk with Mark. We hope today's episode offered valuable insights for realtors, homeowners, business owners, or anyone navigating the Austin real estate market. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review to stay updated on the latest industry trends. Follow Mark on social media for even more tips and expert advice. Until next time, stay informed and keep thriving in Austin's real estate market.